We are told that a parent's love is the purest force in the universe, and that it is a light that never dims and a shelter that never collapses. We believe that to love a child is to protect them from the harsh winds of reality, and to cushion every fall and to fill every empty plate. But there is a shadow side to this virtue that we rarely discuss in polite society. It is the terrifying truth that love without boundaries is not a nutrient, it is a poison. When we feed a hunger that should be earning its own bread, we do not create a strong man, we create a monster. A monster that lives on the sofa. A monster that eats the retirement savings. A monster that looks at you, not with gratitude, but with expectation. This is the story of the parasite in the living room. It is the tragedy of the parents who loved their child so much they forgot to teach him how to live without them. And in doing so, they allowed him to consume the very host that gave him life. Let us look through the window of a modest house on a quiet street. Inside live Martha and Robert. They are good people. They belong to a generation that believed in hard work and sacrifice. They worked for 40 years to pay off the mortgage and to fill the savings account and to create a sanctuary of peace for their twilight years. But there is no peace in this house. There is a heaviness in the air, a tension that hangs like smoke. In the spare bedroom, which was supposed to be a guest room or a study, sleeps their son Julian. Julian is 35 years old. He is physically healthy. He has a university degree that hangs dusty on the wall. But Julian does not work. Julian is finding himself. He has been finding himself for 10 years. Julian sleeps until noon. When he wakes up, he walks into the kitchen and opens the refrigerator. He complains that there is no orange juice. He complains that the internet is slow. He sits on the sofa and plays video games for 8 hours a day, immersing himself in a virtual world where he is a hero and a conqueror, while in the real world, he is a ghost. Martha and Robert tiptoe around him. They speak in whispers so they do not disturb his mood. They are terrified of his anger. They are terrified of his silence. They have become hostages in their own home, governed by the emotional volatility of a man-child they created. How did this happen? It did not happen overnight. The parasite does not attach itself fully grown. It enters as a spore. It started when Julian was 22 and quit his first job because the boss was mean. Martha said, "Come home, rest for a while. You are too sensitive for that place." It continued when Julian wanted a new car, but didn't have the credit, so Robert co-signed the loan, saying, "We need to help him get on his feet." It solidified when Julian decided he was an artist and needed time to create, so they stopped asking him for rent. Year by year, the boundaries eroded. The temporary help became a permanent crutch. The parents told themselves they were being supportive. They were being kind. But they were not being kind. They were being complicit in the atrophy of a human soul. The tragedy of the parasite is that it hates the host. You might think that Julian would be grateful. You might think he would kiss the hands that feed him. But he does not. He resents them. Deep down in the place where his dignity used to be, he knows he is a failure. He knows he is a child in a man's body. And seeing his parents' weakness, his shame makes him hate them. He lashes out. He belittles Robert's career. He mocks Martha's cooking. He treats their generosity as an insult, because every dollar they give him is a reminder that he cannot earn a dollar himself. The parasite needs the host to survive, but despises the host for its strength. The crisis came on a Tuesday in November. Robert had a stroke. The ambulance came, the sirens wailed, and the house was thrown into chaos. Robert survived, but he required expensive care. He required rehabilitation. The savings account, which had been slowly drained by Julian's needs, was now critically low. Martha sat at the kitchen table, looking at the bills. Her hands were shaking. She called Julian into the room. She explained the situation. She said, "Julian, your father is sick. We have no more money. We need you to get a job. Any job. We need you to help pay the electric bill. We need you to step up." Julian looked at his mother. He did not look concerned. He looked annoyed. He looked like a man who had been interrupted. He said, "Mom, you know I am working on my screenplay. You know I cannot work a menial job. It destroys my creativity. Why didn't you plan better? Why didn't Dad have better insurance? This is not my fault." Martha looked at her son, and for the first time in 35 years, the veil lifted. She did not see her baby. She did not see a misunderstood genius. She saw a predator. She saw a creature that would watch them starve before it lifted a finger. She realized that she was not raising a child, she was feeding a tapeworm. The tapeworm has no loyalty. It has only hunger. If the host dies, the tapeworm simply looks for another host. Julian stood up and walked back to his room and closed the door. The sound of his video game started up again. The explosions and the gunfire from the television filled the silent house where a real tragedy was unfolding. This is the hard philosophical truth we must face. Nature is brutal, but it is wise. In nature, the mother bird pushes the chick out of the nest. If the chick falls, it falls. But if the mother keeps the chick in the nest forever, the chick becomes a deformity. We humans think we are kinder than nature. We think we can suspend the laws of cause and effect. We think we can shield our children from the struggle. But the struggle is the only thing that makes us strong. Without the wind, the tree has no roots. Without the hunger, the wolf has no cunning. When you remove the struggle from your child's life, you are stealing their victory. You are stealing their self-respect. Martha went into Robert's hospital room the next day. She held his paralyzed hand. She told him what happened. Robert cried, not because he was dying, but because he realized he had failed his son. He had loved him too much, and in doing so, he had crippled him. They had used their bodies as a shield, and now that their bodies were broken, their son stood naked and helpless against the world. But here is the turning point, the moment of redemption. Martha went home that night, and she did the hardest thing a mother can do. She walked into Julian's room. She turned off the television. She stood tall. She said, "Julian, you have 30 days. In 30 days, the locks will be changed. In 30 days, you must be gone. I do not care where you go. I do not care what you do. But you cannot stay here. You cannot eat us anymore." Julian laughed. He thought she was bluffing. He thought she was weak. But he saw something in her eyes that scared him. He saw the death of the enabler. He saw the birth of the matriarch. For 30 days he raged. He pleaded. He threatened. He called them terrible names. He said they were abandoning him. He played the victim perfectly because he had rehearsed the role for a decade. But Martha stood firm. She realized that kicking him out was the only act of love left. It was the love that says, "I will let you fall so you can learn to stand." On the 30th day, Julian packed his bags. He left angry. He left without saying goodbye. The house was quiet. But it was a different kind of quiet. It was the quiet of a church after a storm. Martha and Robert were poor. They were tired, but they were free. The parasite was gone. And in the vacuum left behind, they found each other again. 2 years later, they received a letter. It was from Julian. He was working in a warehouse in another state. It was hard work. He was renting a small room. The letter was short. It did not say, "I love you." It did not say, "I'm sorry." It simply said, "I paid my own rent this month. I bought my own groceries. It is hard, but I am doing it." Martha cried over that letter. It was a victory. The parasite had died, and a man had begun to form. It was a late birth, but it was a birth nonetheless. We must ask ourselves a terrifying question. Who is the parasite in your life? Or worse, are you the parasite? Have you allowed someone to carry you so long that your legs have forgotten how to walk? Or are you the host letting someone drain your life force because you are afraid of the conflict that comes with freedom? To the parents I say this. Your job is not to be a friend. Your job is to be a gardener. And sometimes the gardener must prune the branches so the tree can survive. If you have a 30-year-old child sitting on your sofa playing games while you work overtime, you are not a good parent, you are a supplier. You are dealing the drug of comfort to an addict of mediocrity. You must cut the supply. It will be painful. They will scream. They will tell you that you are cruel. But you must be the rock that breaks the wave. You must teach them that the world owes them nothing. The refrigerator does not fill itself. The lights do not stay on by magic. The roof over their head costs blood and sweat. If they do not learn this from you, they will learn it from the world, and the world will not be as gentle as you are. And to the children who are still in the nest long after their wings have grown, I say this: you are rotting. You are dying in comfort. The safety you feel is an illusion. Your parents will die one day. And when they do, you will be left alone in a world you do not understand. You will be a domestic animal released into the wild. You will be eaten. Leave the living room. Go out into the cold. The cold will wake you up. The hunger will sharpen your mind. The fear will make you a man or a woman. Do not trade your potential for a free meal. The meal is not free. It costs you your soul. Look at your living room today. Is it a place of life, or is it a waiting room for death? If there is a parasite, remove it. If you are the parasite, leave. The pain of separation is the only path to the joy of independence. Love is not holding on. Love is letting go. Let go. Let them fall. And watch them fly.